Welcome to Nerd Digital Brew. This is lesson number 2, writing a search string using Boolean operators. Boolean operators are also known in Google terms as search operators. They are made of the Boolean terms and, or, not, notice in all caps, that are used to join keywords or keyword terms to create a search string. So we have New York City and demographics. You might note that New York City is in quotation marks. This will be explained in a later lesson. Software engineer or senior software engineer. This result would bring us either of those two terms. Software engineer minus job. In all search engines, the word and works except in Google, where instead of the word not, you need to use the sign, a negative sign, to represent not. So when you use Boolean or search operators, for example, we're going to explain how to use and. When you use and between keywords, it expands a search in a very specific way. For example, if I had the word augmented reality and virtual reality, my search results would bring both of those two terms entered in each result. For example, I'm going to use augmented reality and, all caps, virtual reality. Each one of the result entries that returns has both terms in it. And as you might note, those terms are in bold. They're actually set off so that you can see them within the content of each of the return sites. But let's narrow it even further. Let's use augmented reality and virtual reality and immersive web. And let's see what my results would be like. And again, now I'm going to get results that have all of those terms returned in each one of the entries. And again, my result is going to be narrowed specifically based on those content results. If I use the Boolean operator, also search operator, or I can choose between items in this way. Example, technology or innovations. My results are going to bring either of those results with my content return. Technology or innovations will find entries that have either of those words as the focal point. And even when I go through multiple pages, I can see that result. And again, notice that the terms I searched for are in bold. But if I expand my search string and add Apple, now I can either have technology results with Apple or innovations with Apple, and that is the return of my search engine brings me. And if you note, those terms are in bold. I have narrowed my content in a specific way. Not as a Boolean operator or search operator. When I'm using that within Google, I'm going to use a negative sign instead. This operator is a negate. That means it takes content away. For example, software engineer minus job. That means I'm not looking for a job as a software engineer. I could be looking for information about software engineers or requirements to become one, or even people who are, but I'm not looking for jobs. So I'm going to show you what an example search might look like if I'm not looking for job, but information. So I've got the word software engineer, and if you notice, I get all kinds of sites that bring me, in fact, almost 120 million sites. But if I negate concepts that I find, job, jobs, career, careers, definition, I am going to truly narrow my content. And if you notice at first it tries to bring me jobs, because that's the first thing it's going to try to do, because that's what a search engine does. But if you notice, now all of my content has specific information, and I'm going to even narrow it further. I'm going to add and. Seattle area, because maybe I want to look for people, connections who are software engineers in the Seattle area. If you look, I'm getting profiles. And a profile is an identification of people who live within that area who would be software engineers. So I've narrowed my content down even further. In conclusion, Boolean operators, or as we know them in Google, search operators, allow you to expand or narrow specific search content within a search engine by using in all caps the word and, or not, or a negative sign between keywords. Boolean operators or search operators must be in all caps in combination with those keywords. Otherwise, it will not work. And in Chrome or Google, you will not recognize the not operator. Thus, you need to use a negative sign instead. And that negative sign needs to be directly adjacent or right next to the word it's actually next to work.